am Dr. Suvarchala, Scientific Director with ZIVA Fertility Centers. Today we'll understand the anatomy and mechanism of fallopian tubes in detail. This is very important to understand the function of a very important part of the female reproductive system. The fallopian tubes, also known as oviducts or uterine tubes, are a pair of slender tubes that connect the ovaries to the uterus. They play a very crucial role in the female reproductive system by facilitating the transport of eggs from the ovaries to the uterus and providing the site for fertilization. So let us look in detail at the anatomy and mechanism of fallopian tubes. The fallopian tubes are approximately 10 to 12 centimeters in length and are divided into several distinct sections. The first one we'll talk about is the fimbriae. The distal end of the fallopian tube near the ovary is called the fimbriae, and these are finger-like projections that extend toward the ovary. The fimbriae capture the ovulated egg from the ovary and guide it into the fallopian tube. Next part is the infundibulum. The funnel-shaped part of the tube adjacent to the fimbriae is called the infundibulum. It is a widened funnel-like structure and it acts as a passage for the egg from the fimbriae to the ampulla. So then what is the ampulla? The longest and the widest part of the fallopian tubes following the infundibulum is called the ampulla. A wider, more detailed section of the tube is what is the ampulla, and it is the usual site of fertilization where the sperm meets the egg. The next part is isthmus. The narrow part of the tube closer to the uterus is the isthmus, and it is narrow, straight section. It connects the ampulla to the uterine part of the tube and facilitates the passage of fertilized egg, which is called as the zygote, towards the uterus. The last part is the intramural or interstitial part. It is the section of the tube that penetrates the wall of the uterus, and it is the part that is embedded within the uterine wall. It acts as a final passage for the egg to enter into the fertilized embryo, which is in different stages at this point, to enter the uterine cavity. We'll also look at the layers inside the fallopian tubes. The wall of the fallopian tubes are composed of three main layers. The first one we'll talk about is the mucosa. It is the innermost layer lined with ciliated and non-ciliated columnar epithelial cells. The cilia help the egg towards the uterus, while the secretory cells provide nourishment to the egg and the sperm. The next part is muscularis. It is the middle layer composed of smooth muscle fibers arranged in circular and longitudinal layers. Contractions of the smooth muscle help propel the egg and the sperm through the tube. The serosa is the next layer. It's the outermost layer consisting of a thin layer of connective tissue covered by peritoneum. The serosa provides structural support and protection. The primary functions of the fallopian tubes are to capture and transport the egg, facilitation of fertilization, and transport of the fertilized egg to the uterus. Let's look at how these processes occur. Ovulation and capture of the egg occurs during ovulation, that is release of the egg from the ovary. The fimbriae sweep up the surface of the ovary and create currents in the peritoneal fluid to capture the egg. The egg enters the infundibulum and moves into the ampulla. Ciliated cells in the mucosa create a current that helps move the egg towards the uterus. Peristaltic contractions of the muscularis layers help propel the eggs through the tube. Sperm deposited in the vagina during intercourse swim through the cervix and uterus to reach the fallopian tubes. Fertilization typically occurs in the ampulla, where the sperm meets the egg and penetrates it. After fertilization, the zygote continues to move towards the uterus. Ciliary action and muscular contractions help transport this zygote through the isthmus and intramural part of the tube. The zygote or the embryo reaches the uterine cavity, where it can implant and develop into an embryo. So, you see how important the tubes are. If the fertilized egg implants in the fallopian tubes instead of the uterus, it results in an ectopic pregnancy, which is a medical emergency. Blockages in the fallopian tubes can prevent eggs and sperm from meeting, leading to infertility. This can be caused by many conditions such as pelvic inflammatory diseases, endometriosis, or previous surgeries. So, fallopian tubes are essential for the reproductive process. They provide a pathway for eggs to travel from the ovary to the uterus, and they also facilitate fertilization. So, understanding their anatomy and function helps in diagnosing and treating various reproductive issues. Timely gynecological checkups and interventions can help you manage and prevent complications related to the fallopian tubes. To understand more about this, please feel free to contact us. Thank you. A lot of effort has gone into making this video. Please like and subscribe us. Thank you.